Now, today we're here with established businessman Alphonse Gabriel Capone. Please tell the audience a bit about yourself, Mr. Capone. Well, I was born in Brooklyn, New York in 1899. My parents were Italian, and I had 9 brothers and sisters. I lived in a pretty tough neighborhood, too. So I hear you weren't the best student in school. Yeah, I got expelled when I was in the 6th grade because some teacher was mouthing off to me, and I shut her up. It was quick, too. 1 punch to the mouth. Imagine that. Out of school at 14. Is it true that you did nice things for people, being that you just had gotten expelled? Well, yeah. Besides the fact that after I grew up and went to Chicago, I became a celebrity. Even when I was young, I was selling candy at the store, so I would sometimes, maybe I'd just give a kid a little extra than he paid for. You know, when I became a celebrity in Chicago, then my favorite responses with the media, I just love to tell them about how I was a businessman, and I just give the people what they want. How I just satisfy public demand. I opened up a soup kitchen, and I paid for the hospital expenses when 2 people hit a mother and her helpless son because they were trying to pull a drive-by on me at my hotel. I think it's safe to say I'm a pretty nice person and that I'm a businessman who gives the people what they want. So when did you get your first taste of organized crime? When I was a kid, I was in about 4 gangs. But the best one that I was in was a 5 Points gang. They were the toughest gang in Manhattan. Those guys were great. Eventually I moved up from just being some guy on the streets to a bouncer and a bartender at the Harvard Inn. Got that job from Frankie Yale. Good old Frankie. He's a great guy. But when I worked at the Harvard Inn, that's how I got these scars on my face. Because some dumb broad told her older brother to come attack me when all I did was make a joke about it. So this guy comes running at me. He's trying to fight me. He's all over me. Pulls out his knife. And he comes at my face. Got these scars on my face. People start calling me Scarface. As if I didn't already have enough nicknames. Can you tell us more about Frankie Yale? Good old Frankie. Frankie Yale, that used to be my guy when I was back in New York. See, he got me a job. He's the one that got me that job at the Harvard Inn. And he's the reason, well, partly the reason at least, I ended up living like a king, too. See, Frankie was the leader of the 5 Points gang. And they own the Harvard Inn. So when I got there, then he was taking care of a lot of things, and he also made me apologize to the guy who was the older brother of that girl that I made fun of. That guy's name was Frankie Galluccio. Galluccio was pretty receptive to my apology, and he became my bodyguard not too long after I apologized. So that actually turned out pretty well because he ended up working as a pretty good bodyguard for me when I was in New York. You said that Frankie was the reason you ended up living as a king? Well, not exactly. You see, what had happened was after I committed a couple murders, or I was implicated in murders. You know, I don't know if I would say that I commit them, but that's what the police would tell you. I had to get out of there because I didn't want the police to try and blame something else on me. Even though technically I didn't do anything, and even if they were to say that I did anything, they weren't able to find any witnesses because, you know, the gangster code and omerta and all that stuff. But the cops were gonna be watching me. So Frankie Yale, great guy, he was thinking ahead. He sent me down to Chicago to lay low for a bit and sent me to work for his old mentor, John Torrio. Torrio's the real reason I ended up living like a boss, because when he left, then he handed me everything. See, when I got to Chicago, then I got to Chicago in 1919. John Torrio had me working for him, and by 1923, then I was his right hand, and I was a full partner. I was a partner for everything, from speakeasies to saloons to brothels to breweries, you name it. If it had to do with that stuff, it had Torrio's name on it, then it had my name on it. So one day we're working down there, and some guys from the North Side gang come by to try and deal with Torrio because he's cutting into their business. So they pull the shooting, and he gets injured, but he doesn't die. So he decides he's too old for this. So he goes back to Italy, but he leaves me with all this stuff. So now I'm the one who's running everything. And so being the boss in Chicago, I'm making about $100 million from all the speakeasies and the gambling and the brothels and the breweries. If you name it now, it had my name on it, not Torrio's, just mine. Who killed John Torrio, or who was trying to kill him? You said some guys from the North Side gang? Yeah, they weren't too happy after we killed Dino Banyan, because that was their boss. Why'd you guys kill Dino Banyan? Because he had inside information on a raid, and he was so stupid. This guy had information, and he didn't say anything to us, and even though it was a joint venture between him and Torrio. So he gets arrested, Torrio gets arrested, and they both ended up in jail for a little bit. And we can't just let stuff like that slide. We knew you had this stuff and you didn't do anything about it. So we took care of him. And then they got mad and they wanted to try and take care of our boss. But it didn't work. Okay, last question for you, Mr. Capone. How were you able to run all this in Chicago with no issues? How did none of these other businessmen try and kill you? And why weren't the police an issue? See, two reasons. I had Big Bill, and I had eyes and ears all over the city. Mayor William Hale Thompson, or as you knew him, that's how you knew him. I knew him as Big Bill. Big Bill took care of all the legal work. He dealt with all the police because we were giving him a cut of our profit. So he got to be rich, the police got to be a little richer. Everybody was pretending to do their job. No issues from anybody. I helped him, he helped me, mutual. It was a mutual work agreement. Because of this, I also had eyes and ears all over the city. If anything was happening, I knew about it. I ran Chicago. If there was a deal going down in the back alley and it had anything to do with alcohol, it had my name on it. I knew what was going down. If somebody wanted to get into a brothel, or somebody was trying to sell some alcohol, or wanted to buy some, wanted to drink, this was the prohibition. I was taking care of everything. Anytime some smart guy in the force was trying something, I took care of him too. Very easy. Well, thank you. I think that's all we need for today.